Well, welcome to Speaking of Horses. I'm your host, Wayne Williams, and we're ready to go right here with some of the great stories from the horse industry. So join us as we get ready to go Speaking of Horses right here on this station. Well, hey, welcome to Speaking of Horses. Today on the radio program, my guest is Jack Ballou. Now, she is a fitness and performance specialist for equine athletes and trains. I've even noticed on the website you are listed under dressage training as well. But we're going to start out by saying welcome, and we're going to be working together at the Southern Equine Expo in a few weeks. That'd be February 22nd, 3rd, and 4th in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, just outside Nashville. So you are out in Santa Cruz, California, where it's a little warmer than it is here in Wisconsin today. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be on the show, and we are enjoying some lovely weather.
I know you got to kind of rub that in, I know, but we're glad to have you on the show. Now, tell us a little bit about your background in horses and how you got to where you're at and what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. I've been involved with horses my whole life. I was raised in New England by a horse training family. So I've been with horses my whole life. My father is a carriage driving trainer, and he still trains. And my mom was a dressage trainer. So I kind of had a diverse approach to working with horses from the beginning, and it's permeated my approach today, which is I really believe in the value of creating a versatile, all-around horse. And it doesn't mean he's going to excel in every discipline, nor does he need to, but I think athletes are more balanced when they don't get stuck in their own little box of their discipline, whatever it is. So I spend about a third of my time traveling the country doing clinics, and a third of my time teaching riders, and about a third of my time training horses is kind of how it breaks out.
Well, that's a really good breakout that way, about a third and a third, because that way you get to enjoy all facets of what you love to do with horses. You're not kind of stuck in one area.
It's true, and I think that we're always still learning. You know, there's always more to learn, and when you travel around and give clinics and go to different areas of the country, sometimes the horse keeping differs from state to state depending on how much available land people have and, you know, the different services that may or may not be available. And, the one thing I learned is that both horse people and horses are pretty darn adaptable, and it just keeps your mind broad, and you always pick up skills from people. So it's fun. You know, I love this industry, and I hope it carries on. We need to get more young people joining up so that it, you know, keeps thriving into the future.
That you just hit on what seems to be a real issue. A lot of young people are just not, I don't know what the word would be other than committed. They're just not as committed to what it takes. Like if you're starting through dressage, for example, which you do, you know, it's a long-term commitment. You don't see results tomorrow. And they don't seem to have that commitment. So how do you think we instill that in them to get on that bandwagon and work toward that goal?
Well, I mean, I still go back to that wonderful quote by Winston Churchill, who said the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a man. Right. And I think that when young people experience the being in the presence of a horse, and it's empowering, it's clarifying, it demands your focus, you know, as fractured and distracted as we can all be. I think once they get a little taste for that, I've seen it. It kind of keeps them coming back. So that's the hope I hold. You know, it might be a little pie in the sky, but I think once people feel that effect, it'll draw them back.
You know, sometimes, too, it just takes a little time before they realize what it's done for them. I can tell in a lot of the trail rides, a lot of trail riding for weeks at a time that my wife and I have done a lot of over the past. When you get down to a place in southern Missouri or in the Dakotas or wherever, and you've trailered out and you got your living quarters or your camping stuff in your trailer, and you set up camp for a week to ride, we find a lot of doctors, nurses, lawyers, a lot of real key professional people. When they decide to get away and recharge their batteries, so to speak, it's totally different than the humdrum of a hospital or whatever. They're out in the country, but they're out with their horse, and it totally changes their attitude.
Yeah, it's effective, isn't it? Undeniably.
Yeah. So there's another part of you where it says fitness and everything. So tell us a little bit how you play the fitness part of this. And we're talking fitness of the rider themselves, not necessarily the horse, but just of the rider. How this fits in with having a good rider.
Yeah. In a perfect world, it's both the horse and the rider. I think because my upbringing was so emphasized so much the versatility of horses, that I learned early on the value of having a horse and a rider that can use his body. I mean, if a horse and a rider can use their body well, you're already ahead of the game when you go to take on whatever challenge you're going to. But, let's say you show up to a dressage lesson or you go to school over some obstacles at a trail trial or something, and your horse doesn't have the coordination or symmetry or strength in the hind quarter, whatever it is that he needs, they're going to struggle. And it's not because they don't understand the task or they don't have the right cues for the task. It's just that they're not physically prepared. And the same is true of riders. If you can't hold yourself in a balance or have a certain measure of stamina, it's hard to help that horse. So, early on, we're training dressage horses. We never got them out and quote-unquote did dressage 4 days a week. We always no matter what the horse's age or intended specialty was, we always did 1 day of cavaletti work each week. We did a day of trail riding. We did maybe 2 dressage schooling sessions a week, but the other stuff that we did was basic conditioning work, and it was really darn effective. And that really set the ball in motion for me. And when I go around and give clinics, typically the problems I'm helping riders with does come down to the horse's mechanics. The horse needs to learn to use his body better. Or we figure out maybe this horse can't use his body in the way we're asking him to do. And we figure out what that might mean for that individual horse fitness-wise. So, it's a passion of mine. And I think it stems from my own life. I mean, I'm an ultra-marathon runner, and I like to joke I'm my own guinea pig. So I try out a lot of stuff for myself first.
Well, what you said about the horse may not be physically able to do it. Most people, the novice rider jumps on, the last thing they think about is the horse capable? They're worried about what they're doing, and the horse may have a physical problem that doesn't allow it to balance out right, just like people.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So
that's what started this whole journey. And then last year I published my 4th book. This one's with Trafalgar Square, and it's called 55 Corrected Exercises. And the whole point behind all those exercises in that book is to help get horses in the right, they're simple exercises to get horses in the right alignment and, flexing their joints and using their bodies the way that we want them to do, whether you just want a more comfortable trail riding horse or you have a gaited horse that's having trouble finding its gait, or, whatever the mechanical challenges are for you individually.
So when people come to your clinics like the ones you're going to be doing in Murfreesboro, Tennessee at the Southern Equine Expo in February, that'll be the 22nd, 3rd, and 4th of this month, or we also know you're going to be at the Midwest Horse Fair in Madison, Wisconsin in April. What do you try to cover in these clinics? Because most of those places you get like an hour at a time. So what do you try to cover and do in these clinics when you do this for people, so those that might want to come will know what to expect?
That's a great question. So what I think is most valuable in those larger clinics is for people, both the auditors and participants, to leave that 1 hour with a couple very clear take-home points. And I always get that feedback, like, that was really clear. I've got a couple things I can go home and work on with my horse. So it might be just demonstrating and seeing the result of different exercises that I set up for the horses. And that'll give people an idea about what to go home and do with their horse to make them more flexible, for example. Sometimes people have a good idea about what exercises to do with their horse, but they don't know put it in context, like, how long should I be doing this exercise, right? Should I be doing it for 10 seconds or 10 minutes, you know? And so what I do in these clinics is really look at the result we're getting from each exercise for each individual horse. That's what's fun at these expos, because you get a whole grab bag of body types and breeds and everything.
Yeah.
And then I say, you know, for your horse, I would suggest doing this exercise, you know, this long, this many days a week. And, I mean, I don't want to say it's like a recipe, but sometimes it's just the clarity that people need. Like, oh, okay, I wondered. Like, I heard cavaletti was a really good exercise, but I didn't know, am I supposed to do that, like, every day? Or should I just do that one day a week, you know? So usually it's just helping people see the result of, you know, finding that sweet spot with their tool.
Well, you know, the other thing, you brought up a good point, because I work and announce at a lot of these expos around the country, and when they go out and get riders to come in and participate with you in your clinic, when you come in as the, you know, in this case, almost cross-country expert from California to Tennessee, they have to just go find people that will ride in your clinic, want to ride in your clinic or whatever, but you don't have any idea who or what you have until you get there. So you have to size it up pretty quick in the arena, like, okay, now, where can I start? Am I starting at A? Can I start at B or C? Where am I with this? And so that you can leave them with something that is plausible that they can do. The main thing is, I think, you're looking at whetting their appetite, so if they really like what they see, they come back to you for training and books and the like, so you can help them much more specifically after that.
Yeah, that is the goal, because people, you know, they want to feel successful. They need to feel successful. They need to feel the result of what they've done and that it's been productive.
Yeah.
Not too much, not overwhelming, but, you know, finding a path forward. And I admire those demo riders. I mean, it's a lot of gumption to get up and put yourself out in front of these audiences that you don't know. They're staring at you. And, you know, usually the horses are a little bit nervous. And, I admire them. It's kudos to them.
Well, Jack, we're running out of time here. Your website is?
Website is www.checkballou.com, and there's a lot of free articles on there with exercises and tips if people want to check it out.
Well, we're just about out of time, but that's spelled JECBALLOU. So, Jack, we thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, that's our show. I'm your host, Wayne Williams. Speaking of horses, we'll be back next week with a brand new show. Or join us at speakingofhorses.com.